Yes, Manano, thank you for honoring our invitation to be part of our show today. Our show is called Sauti Africa. We always talk about lifestyles of youths out there, and I'm your host today, Zawede Patricia. Our guest is called Alhaji Manano, and he's a rugby player. He plays with Cobs, and I know this is going to be an interesting episode, so tune in as we unveil all about Manano, his rugby career, his life, and all that. So, Manano, how are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm okay. So, I'll start by asking your full name. Is it just Manano? Is it just Alhaji?
My full name is Manano Alhaji. The Alhaji name is a little bit, it keeps pulling people's attention because it's a title. It's a title, and to me, it's a name too. Yeah, my mama gave me that name because she did her hijab when she was almost pregnant. So there's a way that name kind of picked up on me.
And how about you? Have you done a hijab before?
Not yet.
When I go
I will do, inshallah.
Okay, so briefly, who is Manano? Give us like your life story, where you started from, like how you've been, like your whole life.
Basically, Manano, I grew up from Naguru. I spent most of my life in Naguru. I was born in Naguru here. I was basically a football player in my childhood. I never knew much about rugby. And then I got to know about rugby in my high school life when I joined Chambogo College. That's where I found rugby. Later on, I decided to really concentrate on rugby when it came to 2013. Yeah, but the other part of me outside rugby, I'm a fun guy, stubborn, jolly, a little bit emotional at times. But I like being around people. That's me. And I guess that sums up our package of me.
Of who Manano is. So when we get back to the reality of life, very many rugby players actually choose to abandon the school life. I don't know if I should say they abandon or they get so busy with the rugby and they choose to chill out school, because majority of them actually, I should say, haven't studied. Yeah. So what pushed you to go this far with your education compared to other maybe rugby players out there in Uganda?
I would say is first it starts with the people who are around you. So if you surround yourself with people who are ambitious and people who wish you well, people will always advise you to really pursue your goals. And me, the only thing that stood out for me is yes, I used to perform. Yes, I'm a performer.
In school?
In school, my primary, I finished with the first grade, and then I remember my dad used to tell me to leave sports. He always used to tell me, you're good at your academics. Why don't you just leave sports? Sports is for people who are not doing well in academics, like their way out. I used to tell my dad, I always want to balance either sides, academic and sports. And then when I started playing rugby, I remember I used to come up with injuries and all that, go home, my mom scolds me and all that. And then what really motivated me to push on with school is my club I joined came up and started really pushing me, paying some school fees and all that. So I got motivated. I really felt I shouldn't, I have fear of disappointing people and fear of failure. So I kept on, not doing it for myself alone, but for the people who are also trying to, push me up there. And even for myself, at the end of the day, that's why I kept on studying, and I'm here, and I'm still studying. So, school doesn't get done. Learning is endless.
Okay. So let's talk about your career as a rugby player. How did your journey start? How did you reach these heights where you're at? You're interested in knowing.
My journey started in Chambogo College when I joined in Form 2. That was 2008. Yeah, I met a couple of friends who are still playing, and I think I owe them so much for keeping me into the game. I would have maybe dropped the game at certain point, but we kept on, playing and keeping it together until Form 6. In my Form 2, I wasn't so much, I had fear because it was a new sport. It was full of contact. I remember the first time I held that ball, I injured my ribs. Even though I didn't tell my parents, I couldn't laugh very well. I would laugh with pain. But it wasn't, there's those that such pain that really, makes you love something more. So I kept on trying and trying until I started playing. I played under 16 in Form 4. That was my first time playing under 16. I think I scored a couple of tries, many
So
tries.
they categorized them according to the
Yeah,
age.
we had. In high school, we have under 14, 16 and 18 by then. So I was in 16 because I was already in Form 4. So I played a year. Then in my Form 5, I joined, I started playing club. That's when I came and played for Box, the junior team of Cobs. I played, went to Gulu, we came back. It was fun. It was my first time playing and we traveled. I came back and played a year, played a season. I joined in Uganda Cup Box, went and I became the next league, the league after Uganda Cup. I was named the captain for the team. Played until I think my biggest achievement as a captain, I think, was reaching the Uganda Cup Shield finals with Impis, where we lost. I even got a red card.
Sorry.
Cried like a baby.
That's how game
for losing and all that. And then that's when I got a call up to the senior team. So in my Form 6, I was already in Cobs. And then in my Form 6 back, I was named the under 19 national team captain. After my captaincy, the next 2 years, I was in the Cobs team, and then after, I joined, in 2016, I joined the Sevens national team, where we won the African Cup. So we automatically qualified for Cape Town and Dubai HSBC series, where I featured both those circuits, and then I got injured in the Cape Town circuit. I got, of course, injuries happen. So I got injured and I stayed out of Hong Kong, and then I rejoined the team later on that year. Trained, played. So I've been in the national team for I think for 3 years. After then I got out of it. I rested for like a year and a half because of injuries, and then campus. Then after campus, books work came in. I was working in Barara. It became hard for me to come and then after Barara I came back during COVID there. I started doing something of my own. I started venturing into a wine business, and it's still moving very well. Then I still do a little bit of merchandising on the side hustle, produce. So yeah.
Should I say that was the end of your rugby?
No, I continue playing. I continue playing. I'm still playing. Yeah.
It's because of the COVID that you chose to.
Now, of course, COVID, the sports were in standstill. So, of course, you have to get other.
So, a few months back, I think the rugby national team was out for some games. I'm not sure where versed which country.
France.
Yeah, so weren't you part of it?
No, I stopped playing for the national team in 2019. 2019, since I couldn't recover from my knee injury. I was supposed to do surgery, but I decided not to opt to. I decided to just rest. I rested for a year and a half. Then I started playing for my club.
Okay, because recently I think we had games going on.
Then I started playing for my club, and then I was called for the national 15s team. That one was sevens. So I was called for the national 15 teams. That was my comeback into national team again, being the national flag. So
we should expect more.
Of course, it's just the beginning. It's rugby has ups and downs. Yeah.
So during your time in the rugby life and the career and all that, what have been those I should call hardest moments? Like you reached a point where you felt like, yeah, this is getting a bit maybe hard, and you felt like you wanted to give up?
I think I would say my time when I got really injured. Having a life which is full of action, you're always either on pitch or not, you're watching guys play. And being a rugby player and you're still active, you haven't yet made up your mind to retire. And I think when retiring is hard. There's a time you'll be out there watching guys play and you wish you're there. So that was my hardest time. Normally it becomes even more harder when your team is losing and you're out there. You feel like you would have done something
about it.
Yeah, I think that was my hardest time.
So when you fall sick, as you've said, because you say the rugby game is a hard-on, usually I should say accidents and like an everyday thing. So do you guys have like medical insurance? Are you insured just in case like you're sick? Do your like teams take charge of that, or?
The insurance bit of it, it's okay. On a national level, people are insured, but I don't think the insurance covers on a larger extent. It must be covering something that is minor.
Like a spray or something.
A sprain, maybe fractures, things. But now, when you go to serious injuries, I think where there's a time where someone you have to come in.
It's
your parts, like, but I may have no problem on my club level. We get injuries and the clubs always take care of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So back to your Nago life. I hear that's what they call Naguru boys, Nago life. Very many people who come from there usually backslide in life due to very many situations that that go on there. Many stall down because of the drugs and all that. Then there are those who drop out of school. Very many things going down there. You as a person, you've lived with people who are in that community, I should say. How have you managed to go through all those situations, the community around you, because you've grown up in that kind of community? How have you managed to stay afloat? And you can tell us the kind of life that's basically there since you've been there, you've been in the grassroots.
The life there is, I would say, is full of activities that are, let me say, drug abuse. Of course, there is theft and all that. Like any other neighborhood, it's not perfect. But for a kid to come out of that area so clean and focused, or to make it out of it, I think it comes back to discipline. If you so disciplined and you know that, what, yes, you can have friends who do it, but you know where to stop. You have always a boundary. You find a way of tolerating what they do, and you doing what you feel is right for you. And me growing up in a Muslim neighborhood, and my father being a Muslim, there are some things that I never used to see at home, basically. Smoking, drinking, and all that. So there was nothing really to, motivate me. Why would I? And I always looked at my father as being my idol.
Tell us about Ugandan Rugby, because we really don't know much. Okay, we don't know a lot going on when it comes to Ugandan Rugby. We only know like maybe the teams, that's a lot, clubs, Please.
Ugandan Rugby is, I think, basically it's comprised of the 10 core clubs, and then we have other regional clubs. In the west, we have MAST, that is Mbarara University. We have there's a club from Kabale, I don't know the name probably, and then there's one from Fort Porto.
So are they just regional clubs?
They are regional, but they qualify. Okay, here among the 10 clubs here, we have Cobs, Heathens, Buffaloes, Rams, rhinos, pirates, warriors, and who have I left? Ginger, that's hippos. So always the last on the table log plays out. The other regional teams play out for a spot to join the.
Okay, let's get from that. What have you achieved? Like, what have been your biggest achievements? Like, when you look at yourself, I'm like, I'm so glad I joined rugby. I'm doing rugby because I've gotten this and this out of it. What have been those real sparkling moments?
My achievements, I think first and foremost, I'll start with the social part of it. Social part of it. I've managed to meet a couple of friends, make new friends, and really friends who have been so valuable to me. And it has really, taught me a lot. Rugby really inflicts a lot of discipline. It has, there's a way you respect people, people's ideas. Okay, it adds so much into your social,
Your social
attributes
life.
and all that. And yes, it has, my achievement, it has really pushed me. It's because of rugby that I've studied really this far. Scholarships, university, and my school life, and then even my work. It's rugby, I've affiliated, someone pushes you somewhere and there and then, So I think the best achievement is always having those connections. People who really know your hustle and know that people can push you somewhere. Yeah.
So what advice do you give to any young youths out there who wants to join rugby playing in Uganda?
My advice would be they shouldn't fear the sport. It's a beautiful game. I think once you try it, you won't really have any regrets. And you should always keep disciplined, focus on your studies. You always have to, know what's important to you. Always have prioritized things. There's things that are always top of your priorities. Go with them, follow your heart, and do what you love. I think there's no regret in doing what you love.
If there are any things you feel like would be made, if there are changes when it comes to Ugandan rugby to make it better, what are those specific things?
I have one really core thing that I would say. First is once we get to know that players are always the first stakeholders in this game, and their welfare should really be one of the key points to really, maintain or add on. And then we'll have results on pitch. And when you have results on pitch, we'll have big sponsors coming in. So let's work on the player welfare. And then, of course, I think even part of medical and all that, that's all player welfare.
Yeah.
I think that's the only thing they need to just try and screw up or tighten.
To make it better.
Yeah.
Okay, it has been an insightful discussion with you. We basically, some of us, like me, we don't really know much that's going on when it comes to the rugby life, the rugby as a sport. Actually, it's just of recent that I think I've got to know about the various games and activities that go on with rugby. And it's been a pleasure meeting up with you, getting to know that, back life of what happens in Naguru. Hopefully one of these days we're going to visit that place.
Surely.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Manano,
welcome.
for your time. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for
Pleasure's all mine.
allowing to be hosted at South Africa. So, and this brings us to the end of today's episode. Thank you for watching us. Remember to always subscribe to Faraja TV on our YouTube channel. Follow us on all our social media platforms. That's Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I look forward to meeting you next week. Thank you.